I got to tell you, it is freezing outside. Like, you want to talk about cold? It is. I was in the kitchen, Sam, and one of the folks from one of the other stations came in. She opened her mouth to say hello and nothing came out. That's how cold she was. I started laughing at her because I didn't know if she was like having a stroke or whatever. Oh my gosh. But I said hello, and she said, I was trying to say good morning, but I'm so cold. So it is very freezing, very cold outside. So just know that as you head out the door this morning. So we are just a little situation, a couple of things going on. This is what Sam and I came into this morning. We're not going to dwell on it.
No.
I'm in a good mood, and nothing's going to spoil that. Nobody showed up to do news today. So we're assuming that Joan asked for the day off and no one was scheduled to cover. So that happens, apparently. And also the Super Talk TV screen behind me is also not working. So this is what we came into today, but that's okay. You know, Sam, I almost had some nationwide radio coverage last night.
Oh, did you?
I did. So you ever heard of Bill Cunningham?
Of course.
So he is very widely syndicated, and he heard me on Red Eye Radio. I guess over the weekend they replayed something that I did, and he wanted me to come on to his show, nationally syndicated, as a guest to talk about the complete and utter train wreck that is Afton Bain. Yeah. And I said no. Do you know why I said no? Because I was already on my sleepy drugs. I didn't get the note from them until after I'd taken all my CBD stuff to help me sleep. And as wonderful as Bill Cunningham is, I needed to get my shut-eye. So I think Matt Murphy, I recommended Matt Murphy to talk to Bill Cunningham about all of that. So maybe he did. I don't know. I'm going to anxiously wait to hear from Matt to see if he actually was on with the mighty Bill Cunningham, who is a man that I greatly admire. So maybe at some other time I'll be on with Bill Cunningham. So you had a good, very quickly, had a good Thanksgiving holiday, Sam?
Yes, I did. It was wonderful. It was as traditional as it gets. We all met up at my aunt and uncle's house with my grandparents. There was turkey. There was dressing. All the fixings. My wife made this. I didn't think it was going to work, but I'm always going to motivate her. It was a bourbon creme brulee pumpkin pie. And so we'll obviously bake it the night before, get it there, and then I got to torch it with some dusted sugar on top, and it was phenomenal.
Nice. Very good. Well, glad you had a good Thanksgiving. My daughter and grandson were out. We had a great time, and he is... He's a rambunctious little fellow at now about 14 months old. He likes to turn everything off. So I want you to imagine trying to cook Thanksgiving dinner as this little being is running around turning off the oven. That happened twice. So my entire Thanksgiving day was spent monitoring the oven to make sure that the little one didn't come and turn off the oven. Hey, he was never in any danger or anything, but he just kept turning it off.
Yeah, he'd be in danger of drying out the turkey at that rate.
Well, he'd be in danger of angering Grandpa because Grandpa was hungry. Anyway, moving right along. So it is 5:08, Nashville's Morning News. Other than that, though, we have Super Talk TV is actually working this morning. So hello, everyone, on Super Talk TV, and appreciate you listening. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. If you want to text us, that would be great. Now, let's get to the content, shall we? Tomorrow is the big day, December 2nd, general election for the 7th Congressional District. Now, we all know, I don't feel like I need to retrace for all you folks. I mean, I know that you all have been listening for a long time. You know what is going on with Afton Bain. We know that she came out and she said that she hated Nashville and all of that. So she had an opportunity. Afton Bain had an opportunity to take back or admit that it was a mistake that she said that she hated Nashville, that she hated the Woo Girls, and she hated country music. She had a chance to sort of make it all right, and she didn't do it. actually. She kind of doubled down. This is what she said on CNN. By the way, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can see all kinds of video this morning.
I hate the city. I hate the bachelorettes. I hate the pedal taverns. I hate country music. I hate all of the things that make Nashville, apparently, an it city to the rest of the country, but I hate it.
I know you said those comments were taken out of context, but I want to ask you about it because I'm wondering, do you think it was a mistake to say that?
Once again, I was a private citizen. Nashville is my home. Do I roll my eyes at the bachelorette parties and the pedal taverns that are blocking my access to my house? Yeah, every Nashvilleian does. But this race has always been about something bigger. It's about families across Middle Tennessee that are getting crushed by rising prices, while Washington politicians and billionaires argue about this type of nonsense.
Can I ask a question? So is there going to ever be an interview where brain dead Afton Bain doesn't talk about billionaires? You know what my question is, and I came up with this, and I actually have sent a tweet, an X post to Afton Bain. So here's my question to Afton Bain, and basically any Democrat. So if all of a sudden now your big thing is affordability, which by the way, I love that. I mean, affordability is a serious issue in this country. So can I ask this question? Would you, Democrats, be in favor of doing what Donald Trump wants to do and limit as much migration or immigration from third world countries as possible, and all of those resources, instead of going to those migrants, go to our young American families? I would love those resources to go to our young American families to assist them in purchasing a home and having children. I mean, I think that is a legit question, is it not? You know how many billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars we spend on migrants and illegal aliens every flippin' year in this country? And how incredible would it be if we could help people who are citizens of this country, who, by the way, are not going to send a good part of what they get from taxpayer dollars here in America back to their home country? I mean, coming up, we're going to talk about what the hell is going on in Minnesota, otherwise known as Somalia, where, you know, we've talked about this here in the last several months, where they've got all of this fraud from these Somalians that is going on in Minnesota. They actually stole COVID funds. Did you hear that Trump called, you hear what Trump called Tim Walz?
Oh, yeah.
Not only did he call him I hate this term, but he called him a retard. Donald Trump called Tim Walz a retard. This came up and with some friends of mine, and the overriding commentary was, well, it's true.
Yeah.
It's like, is it an insult or is it an adjective calling Tim Walz a retard? Now, look, I don't like that term, but I'm sorry. And I'm going to say this every time you see the pearl clutching, and I'm bouncing all over the place, but every time I see the pearl clutching on the left, when Donald Trump calls somebody a name, it's like, I'm sorry, but you people have been calling us Nazis and white supremacists and the rest of that crap for years now. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to pearl clutch over the term retard.
Oh, and the very same governor who, at a public event, well, I know you all were waking up this morning hoping to hear some news
about
referencing him dying.
Yeah, Donald Trump being assassinated.
Yeah.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
So I think it's when you behave that way,
yeah.
in which is even more laughable, casual attire, a hat, and a T-shirt.
Right.
You're going to draw the ire of the president, and he's going to call you names, and you're going to end up deserving it.
So President Trump posted over getting back to Afton Bain, because I realize I'm kind of bouncing all over the place. Trump posted to Truth Social this: I am asking all America First patriots in Tennessee's 7th Congressional District who have not yet voted to get out and vote on Election Day tomorrow, Tuesday, December 2nd, for a phenomenal candidate, Matt Van Epps. Matt is fighting against a woman who hates Christianity, will take away your guns, wants open borders, transgender for everybody, men in women's sports, and openly disdains country music. Do you know, I don't necessarily, people's likes and dislikes, all right, I get it, whatever. I mean, you don't like country music, that's fine. She said she hated Tennessee. She called Tennessee, what was it, patriarchal, right? Remember that whole thing? And that if you are a woman and you have babies, as opposed to men, which she also says can have babies, but if you're a woman who has kids, then you are part of the patriarchy of Tennessee.
Well, she says that specifically about marriage.
She said it about marriage. That's right. We covered all of that. And so her open disdain for country music, I don't necessarily, people are going to have their taste, right? Whatever. But I don't like the other things that she disdains. She disdains ICE. She disdains border protection. She disdains children. She disdains marriage. She disdains all of that. She disdains the state of Tennessee. So for me, the fact that she disdains country music, I really don't care. I mean, I understand that there's a lot of people, including, by the way, yours truly, when all of this came out, it was like, Nashville is built on country music, but it's actually, Nashville is built on a lot more than just country music, obviously. Here's what the president, as he continued to post last night, she said, all of these things precisely and without question, it's on tape. Do not take this race for granted, President Trump says. The radical left Democrats are spending a fortune to beat one of the best candidates we've ever had, Matt Van Epps. You can win this election for Matt. Get out and vote for Matt Van Epps, who has my complete and total endorsement. He will never let you down, says Donald Trump about Matt Van Epps. Early voting, of course, we all know is now over, and we head to Election Day, which is tomorrow, the 2nd of December. Now, in that interview with CNN, I've got some more audio. She was asked about the president's comments and also the fact that she is, can I just say thank God that Al Gore invented the internet? Because there is going to be some sort of a teletown hall or something with Al Gore and AOC. Afton Bain gave an interview, CNN, and she was asked about, I just told you the president's comments on X, I guess it was on True Social. And this is what she had to say about all this, Afton Bain.
Because Trump has been calling you, quote, the AOC of Tennessee. So, I mean, aren't you just feeding into that narrative by appearing with her?
Like I said, we're really grateful for the support across the political spectrum. And if you and for your listeners, the Teletown Hall also features former Vice President Al Gore.
You know what's interesting? Does she ever answer a question? Here's the other thing that I would ask her. I'm a little confused. Sam, can you look up how much is Al Gore worth? If she keeps berating the millionaires and the billionaires, well, then why is she appearing with one? Can I ask that question? She keeps berating in the previous audio bite video. She was berating the millionaires and the billionaires that Donald Trump is supposedly and the Republicans supposedly want to help. Well, okay, then why is she appearing with one? That would be my question. Al Gore's worth how much?
Celebrity Net Worth has him estimated to be worth $300 million.
So why is she appearing with a millionaire if she believes the millionaires and billionaires are the bane of society? Is that a legit question to ask? I think that's a legit question to ask, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Here's more from Afton Bain.
Former Vice President Al Gore, who is a Tennessee legend. So I look at it as iconic that you have, Democrats from all political stripes joining in on this moment and saying, we are standing up to what is happening in Washington, and we want to be part of the solution rather than the problem.
Yeah, because some of those you are campaigning with, including AOC, have called for ICE to be abolished. You have been sharply critical of the ICE raids in Nashville, but do you think that ICE should be abolished?
Okay. You'll notice in the next, 30 seconds that Afton Bain refuses to answer the question. Can I ask this question? Why is she not answering these questions? This is what I don't understand. Remember last week, she also refused to answer the question about whether or not she felt the police should be defunded. And she's not going to answer this question either. Listen to this.
Like I said, I've got 48 hours to flip this congressional district and have been dogged about the message of affordability. And that's not what I'm hearing in the district. What I'm hearing is people, especially rural voters, are driving 4 hours to a hospital without care. We've got veterans that are going without, care because the VA hasn't been fully funded. And so these aren't the issues that I'm hearing about in the district. What I am hearing about is that grocery costs are high, utility bills are high, rent is high, and there's no kind of end in sight. And so my message has been one to lower costs, and I think it's resonating across the district, which is why this race is so close.
So she won't answer questions, man. She won't answer questions. And so I have openly asked her this on X. Follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. Would Afton Bain support President Trump's ban on these third world migrants and instead focus on helping young American families buy homes and have children? If her focus on affordability is genuine, then would she support putting those vast resources that we put into these migrants and illegal aliens into young American families? I mean, it's a pretty simple question. We put billions and billions of dollars into these programs across the nation. I would love to know what her thoughts are on that. Now, as far as early voting goes, remember that the Emerson polling that everybody started freaking out about, where it was Afton Bain and Matt Van Epps. It was really close. And so everybody started really paying attention to this race here in the 7th. Of course, we've been paying attention to this race for quite some time now, obviously. Well, the Tennessee Star has broke down the numbers, and there were a total of 84,356 votes cast. And it was a strong turnout, a very strong turnout. Obviously not as much as a general election. However, it was well above the last decade of Tennessee special elections. Patrick says, 615-737-9986, without millionaires and billionaires, who does Afton Bain think will employ people? I mean, what a great point. I mean, who is it that does the research and the development and the investment into companies that employ people? That's why I say all of the constant castigating of, and I'm gonna air quote this, millionaires and billionaires. I mean, to me, I don't really understand why there's so much hatred for the people that, frankly, are donating to Afton Bain's campaign. Because, there's a lot of I saw an article. I didn't even really look at it, but I know that there was some news over the weekend about the amount of money that is pouring in from out of state for Afton Bain. Now, clearly, there's big money coming in for both Matt Van Epps and Afton Bain, so whatever. But can I ask this question of Afton Bain? Okay, so are you going to give back the money? Are you going to give back the money that you got from millionaires and billionaires that have donated to your campaign? And again, I will ask the question. If millionaires and billionaires are so bad, then why are you doing a tele-event with Al Gore, who is worth $300 million? Inquiring minds want to know.
Grok says that the estimated out-of-state donations would be 70 to 90% of individual contributions. For Bain, this suggests approximately 800,000 to $1 million in out-of-state individual donations.
All right. So I guess, and I don't know if there's a way to tell how many millionaires and billionaires, and I'm air quoting this, but how many millionaires and billionaires donated to Afton Bain's campaign. But the bottom line is, it's all a bunch of hypocrisy. Sam, you're going to love this. I know they're really going to love this in the programming office of WTN. I'm getting all kinds of, crap for taking ABC News. Because we have a news person that has not shown up. It's not Joan. Somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody was supposed to show up to do news, and we've just had a scheduling fiasco here on the morning show. So we took ABC News, and people are giving me a bunch of crap. Daily Dan poll right now, from now till 6, yes or no. Go to YouTube and take the poll. Should we take ABC News until the news person gets here? Same thing, I'm going to get fired for this?
No.
Anyway, yeah, let's see. Because, people are like, oh, why are you taking ABC News? I don't know.
People are jumping on this like they did at all the pies and desserts at Thanksgiving.
Are they really? So people are saying, no, don't take it?
Yeah, 75% saying, no, don't take it.
Whatever.
Oh, now it's jumped to 80.
Anyway, if you want to go take the poll, go right on ahead at YouTube. Watch us on YouTube and also Facebook, X, 997WTN.com, so on and so forth. All right. A couple of things real quick. There are a number of things going on regarding the special election. Then I'm going to move on. But the Tennessee Star has now broken down the numbers for early voting, all right, because you know we had early voting in the 7th. Here's what they say. They broke down the numbers. 84,356 votes were cast. They say that is a strong turnout, well above the pace of the last decade of Tennessee special elections. And they say that, and I don't want to get into the granular too much here. So here's just a few headlines. In Davidson County, of course, everybody knows Davidson County, very blue city, Nashville, Tennessee. And so they broke down the shock performer of the cycle. They came out with almost 21,000 ballots in Davidson County, Nashville. Now, that means a lot of those ballots or voters are, of course, for Afton Bain. So they came out with that 21,000 ballots. That turns out to be 24.8% of the 7th Congressional District. Okay, so that is obviously worrisome. That tells you that the Democrats in Davidson County, blue Davidson County, have been flooding the zone, right? Montgomery County, Clarksville, of course, you got the military base up there, came out with strong numbers as well. 19,110 ballots. That feels good for the Republicans, sort of. But remember that Clarksville itself is more left-leaning. This county's final early vote share is at 22%. Williamson County, they say old guard Republican, 14,777 ballots. That is 17.5% of the district's vote. Then they count what they call the rural Republican bloc. So this is basically all the other counties combined. Because here's 14? Is it 14 counties in the 7th Congressional District? I think it's either 14 or 17. But they talk about how with all of those other counties combined, we're talking about Robertson County, Dixon, Cheatham, among others. And so they had 29,518 combined ballots. That's good. That makes up 35% of all early votes cast. So this is, as they broke it down, this is a heavy Republican slice of the district. Could be huge in overcoming that blitz from Davidson County. But I mean, everybody that I talk to, everybody that I respect, they're all saying that this is going to be close. It all comes down to tomorrow. How many total counties are there? We're able to look it up there, Sam?
I was, and you were correct. It is 14. Benton, Cheatham, Davidson, Decatur, Dixon, Hickman, Houston, Humphreys, Montgomery, Perry, Robertson, Stewart, Wayne, and Williamson, part of south and western areas of Williamson County.
All right, so it's going to be close. You got to go out, and if you're in the 7th Congressional District, please go out and vote. You know, there's some people that are saying, oh, Matt Van Epps is the lesser of two evils, and I'm not going to vote for the lesser of two evils. Can I ask this question then? Okay, so you're not going to vote for, and by the way, I disagree with that. I don't believe that Matt Van Epps is the lesser of two evils, and I'm air quoting. But here's the thing. So let's just go along with what you're saying. All right, I'll go along with you and play the game that Matt Van Epps is the lesser of two evils. So you would rather have a really, really, really bad result in Afton Bain, somebody who wants to defund the police, wants to let in all of these illegal aliens, migrants, wants to defund ICE. She wants to dox ICE. She wants to expose ICE. She's called you, if you are a Republican or Donald Trump supporter, a white supremacist, among many other things. So you would rather not vote for Matt Van Epps, and then basically that could allow Afton Bain to win. And so you want the far greater of two evils to represent the 7th Congressional District as opposed to having a good, solid Republican in there. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I know that people are going to start hate texting at 615-737-9986. And I get that. I kind of sort of understand your thinking, but I just don't agree with it. Because you are, by effectively not voting for Matt Van Epps, then you are giving Afton Bain more of a chance of victory. And everything that she stands for is antithetical to what you believe if you are a Republican. Everything. She's called you all kinds of names. She has called your president, Donald Trump, all kinds of abhorrent names. And I just don't understand that kind of thinking. I don't. I mean, whatever, you're going to do what you want. But I think that is just silly. Because ultimately, then what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to accept the possibility of a packing of the Supreme Court, no voter ID across the country, all of the things the Democrats want to do so that you can sit around and stamp your feet and cross your arms and say, no, 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 no. Lesser of two evils. Bullshit. Remember that poll that was quoted all over the place saying, the Emerson poll that's saying it was way tighter than anybody guessed? It was the Emerson poll. Listen to this. The Emerson pollster is now admitting the model estimates fewer Trump voters in the TN7 race than 2024. So that's the headline. In other words, essentially what they did was they were guesstimating that fewer Trump supporters would be coming out to vote in the 7th. Emerson College polling senior director Matt Taglia acknowledged to the Tennessee Star on Wednesday that the methodology for the organization's survey of voters in Tennessee's 7th Congressional District special election anticipated, now that word is important, anticipated fewer supporters of President Donald Trump to cast a ballot than in 2024. Now, here's what I don't get. Where do they actually get that Donald Trump support is in the toilet among Republicans? It's not. Remember what Harry Enton said the other day? I mean, I played it for you a couple of different times where Harry Enton said, no, Donald Trump's support is actually still really strong. So where does Emerson get that there's going to be fewer Donald Trump supporters casting a ballot for the president in the, I should say, for Matt Van Epps in the special election? Because Harry Enton from CNN said, yeah, you know what? Donald Trump's support is still really strong, so it's highly likely that those people will come out in the 7th to support Matt Van Epps. So why did Emerson College anticipate fewer Trump supporters coming out to cast their vote? In other words, I'm feeling a little like this is garbage in, garbage out. This is Scott Jennings over the weekend.
So can we just go to the data, CNN's own data from our own data analyst, Harry Enton? President Trump has an 87% approval rating among Republicans, which is higher than Barack Obama's approval rating among Democrats at this point in his term, higher than where George W. Bush was in his term. He is the strongest, for his own party, strongest president at this point in his second term in the modern era. That's number one. Number two, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, had a falling out with the president over politics. He showed her a poll that said she couldn't win statewide in Georgia.
That's exactly
she got mad. She got mad. And by the way, she stands with a group of isolationists who just happen to disagree with the president over, say, taking away Iran's nuclear weapons and some other issues. That's fine. He's the president. She's not. And if you want to talk about whether the president has a hold on his party or whether he's a lame duck, I'll just submit that when he withdrew his endorsement of Greene, she lasted a week and then had to resign from Congress. That's not weakness. That is strength.
And, of course, then the chirping starts. Have I told you that's my favorite part of the Scott Jennings audio is when all the chirping starts after he finishes his statements? So after the Tennessee Star notes that both Donald Trump and former U.S. House Representative Mark Green, of course, won their 2024 elections in 20-point landslides, Taglia confirms to the Tennessee Star that pollsters expect reduced turnout among the president's supporters. So you got those two words that I've actually highlighted, anticipated and expect. So basically what they're doing with this Emerson poll is they're predicting and not actually polling what is going on. They're trying to sell, in my opinion, they're trying to sell a narrative they believe to be true, or what they believe will happen, but not a snapshot of what is actually happening right now. Now, again, I do understand that there are ways to model these types of polls, but, you know, if they're anticipating and they're expecting negatives for the GOP side and they put that in the polling, well, then, of course, it's going to come out a lot closer. If you put into your formula, oh, Donald Trump, he's not nearly as supported as he was, you know, even a year ago, or Mark Green, you know, when he ran. The GOP and the leadership have lost support amongst their Republican base. Well, according to Harry Enton, and I just played you the audio from Scott Jennings, he's polling at 87%, Donald Trump is. And so for me, it just seems like it would make a lot more sense for them to look at that little nugget and say, you know what? The president actually has a lot more support than they gave him credit for in the Emerson polling. And remember what we always say about polling. Number one, it is a snapshot. Number two, and I talked about this last week, when was the polling done? Because if I remember correctly, and by the way, we're going to speak to Tom Peppert with the Tennessee Star coming up at 7:05 here on Nashville's Morning News. And we're going to do a deep dive inside the Emerson polling. And we'll do a deep dive into the early voting as well. Looking forward to speaking to him. But the other question I would have is, okay, so when was the polling done? Because if I remember right, the polling was done before we found out all of this insanity about all of the things that Afton Bain said about hating Nashville, hating country music, and talking about how Tennessee, and if you're a female and you have a baby here in the state of Tennessee, you are a member of the patriarchy. If you get married, you're a member of the patriarchy. All of that, just absolute insanity. Oh, look at that, CNN. They're talking about this right now in their group chat. So I got to tell you, everybody across the country is watching Tennessee, is watching the 7th Congressional District. We'll see what happens coming up here. All day today, we've got your coverage. And then, of course, all day tomorrow as well. And I think that most people are saying that Matt Van Epps is going to win. But it's going to be close. It's going to be real close. And as Donald Trump said, do not take this for granted. It is 5:50 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, real quick. We did the poll, the Daily Dan poll.
Yeah.
And what did it, because, you know, we have no news person. No news person has shown up today. I'm not going to dwell on it. We're handling this. We're handling this with humor and aplomb.
And grace.
Well, I don't know about that. Let's not get carried away, Sam. So then I said, okay, we ran ABC News at the bottom, and everybody started giving me crap about running ABC News. And so I said, all right, so we're going to leave it up to the listeners. Should we run ABC News at the top and bottom of the hour during Nashville's Morning News?
83% say no.
Well, one person said yes, and that's the boss. So we...
You've been bamboozled.
I got a strongly worded text message from the boss that told me to stop it. So apparently I've got to stop it. We'll be running ABC News.